Hello, everybody. My name is Grottola. Today is June 25th, and tonight I'd like to discuss a few things that I've adopted over the years to help boost my personal creativity. Sort of a list of do's and don'ts throughout the day. Now, being in a career for several years, or for myself, being in the same career for almost 7 years, sales for over a decade, you start to notice certain commonalities that exist within each field or each job you choose to explore. So, what I would do over the years is identify those commonalities and sort of find a way around them, or ways that I could change it up, mix it up a little bit, eliminate or add. So, I wanted to share a few of those with you tonight. The first one I want to go over is emailing. Now, I am personally guilty of it. We are all guilty of it, and that is emailing in bed. Whether it's getting up first thing in the morning and starting emailing, or before you go to bed, opening up your laptop, throwing it on your lap, and finishing off a couple of emails. Don't make emails the first thing you do or the last thing you do. It's like tackling a massive to-do list, because the minute you see it, you start thinking about all the things you need to get done. The reality is, you're not as busy as you think you are. But it begins to feel that way when you take all the things you need to do and put them right in front of you. Really begins to bog you down. Once I stopped doing that, I realized that it made it easier to prioritize my day, and I was able to start the day on a better foot and also go to bed without a million things on my mind. Next thing is taking meetings before lunch. Now, being the morning person that I am, I find that time to be my most creative time. So I like to utilize that time, using it for the more pertinent things, the more mission critical items for the day, because that's when I am sharpest. When I take a meeting before lunch, I find that to be a waste of that good time, that good, it's the best way to put it, the best and highest use of your time. If you can, plan your meetings in the afternoon. Sometimes you can't always get away with doing that, but if you have the option to, I suggest giving it a try. Next thing I would do, at the end of my workday, I would always write a little journal entry. I always keep a notebook around with me, and at the end of the day, I write down how I feel about certain decisions I made, whether it was having to let somebody go, whether it was some great success or achievement the business had. I'll always write that down, and I'll always put down how I felt about it, how it made me feel, how it made others feel, the company feel. And the reason I did that was so I had something to reflect on and go back and look at, to see if my mindset has changed, or to see if I've evolved. And 9 out of 10 times, I would find that there were one or two things I might have done differently. But the only way you're going to know that is by leaving a paper trail, in a sense, of how you felt over the things you did. So I suggest giving that a try. It's something you can reflect on weekly, monthly, yearly. It's up to you. But it's always good to have something to look back on. Next thing is, take a class or pick up a hobby. Do something in your spare time that is the complete opposite of what you do for a living. After trying to figure something out to take my mind off all the things I do, I had a friend suggest to me, because I'd always talk about how I would love to learn to write code. And if I was a program writer, I could probably come up with some pretty neat stuff. So fortunately, one day he sent me a link to a beginner's approach at JavaScript. And let me tell you something, it was some of the most fun I had. I couldn't wait to finish my workday. In fact, it motivated me to finish my workday quicker so I could get online and take this course. Never actually ended up finishing it, and it's something that I still occasionally, once in a while, go back to, but it shook it up enough for me to try something new, to have something to look forward to after a strenuous day of work. Next thing I like to do is cook. Now, being Italian, that might be a little biased, but give it a try. Pick up a recipe. Go online, find a dish you like, whether it's an entree, a dessert. Doesn't even have to be something you like. You can even make it for somebody else. But picking up a recipe, buying the right ingredients, and experimenting with them can be so relaxing, and it's definitely a way of taking your mind off of work. Cooking taps into all of your senses, and the end product will always give you confidence to try other things. Plus, you have a really awesome meal at the end of it. Next thing I want to talk about is travel. If anyone out there has owned a business, I think we've all had that experience or developed that complex where if I leave the office, this place will fall apart. Or this place will fall apart without me if I leave for even an hour. Well, let me tell you something. If that is the case, you have got way bigger problems to deal with than just leaving the office. So the best thing you can do is put your faith and confidence in the people that you've hired and trained to run the company in your absence. Because if you can't do that, you are going to spend too many hours at the office, you are going to stress yourself out, and more quickly than not, you are going to get to the point where you start to develop disdain for even walking through the doors. And in some cases, unfortunately, you could fall out of love what it is you do for a living, which is usually something you loved enough to get involved in, to be an entrepreneur or be a business owner, to start your own business. Next thing is get rid of the alarm clock. Now, I'm not suggesting you do that tomorrow morning, but being the morning person that I am, try to develop a way of naturally waking up in the morning or a good hour before you have to be somewhere. And that's a little side note I'll talk about. I don't care who you are, how fast you think you are at getting ready in the morning, no matter what, everybody needs at least 1 hour before they need to leave the house. Anything shy of that, you are either going to forget your phone charger, you're going to forget your presentation, you're going to forget your car keys, which you have to come back and get anyway, but there's 5 minutes off the clock. And it's usually just that 5 minutes that's going to build up traffic enough for you to be late where you're going in the first place. But being the morning person that I am, and trust me, it gets on some people's nerves. You could see some of it by logging onto Facebook and checking out my Monday morning marvelous mood posts that I post at about 5 a.m. every Monday morning. Some people get pretty irritated by it, but I love the morning. I think there's nothing better than starting the day off watching the sun come up. I also like the idea that I'm one of the first people up and it gives me a head start on the day. Nothing feels better than having that head start, because if you feel like you have fallen behind or start the day behind, you feel like you spend the rest of the day playing catch up, and there is nothing fun about that. Lastly, use a pen and paper. I know we have entered a world of technology where you have apps for everything to take notes or what have you. Even though I'm 32 years old, I still come from the generation where we had to write everything down. We didn't have computers in class. We used chicken scratch. You're able to scratch things out, add things, put inserts in, what have you. But by using a pen and paper, it just makes things simpler for you. Plus, you're always able to keep it around with you, add things to it, scratch things out. Plus, if you're relying on an iPad, a tablet, or a computer for your notes, and you don't give yourself that hour in the morning to get up and you forget your charger, well, you also just forgot your notebook and all your notes too. So, with all that being said, don't be afraid to shake things up a little bit. There's nothing better than boosting your own personal creativity. Remember, it's your personal creativity that brought you to this point, or brought you to the point of starting your own business, or giving you an idea that no one had thought of yet, or promoting that innovative side in yourself. So shake things up, try things a little differently, give it a try. I promise you won't be let down. I know I haven't been let down, and if you want any more advice, I'm a phone call, a text, a message away. I'm happy to help. That's all I have for tonight. I hope you enjoyed this segment. I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Have a good night.